Known for their complicated and somewhat contradictory nature, INFJs are usually explained by their introverted, intuitive feeling and judging functions, their four most dominant. Yet, each personality type is a little more intricate than just main functions. That's why in today's video, we're going to deep dive into 8 cognitive functions that make INFJs in particular so unique. Welcome back, Cycles. Before we get into it, we'd love for you to like and subscribe to our channel, as well as click the notification bell so that you never miss a video. Alright, let's jump right into it, starting with number 1, the INFJ's dominant function, introverted intuition. The famous introverted intuition, the function most used by the INFJ as well as the INTP personality type. It also ranks number 1 on the INFJ's cognitive function stack, which represents the order in which we use cognitive functions. INFJs use this function to navigate and make sense of the world around them. It also gives them that sixth sense that helps them, to an extent, predict the future. You see, INFJs use this function subconsciously and make intuitive patterns and connections in a seemingly abstract way, and more often than not, they come to a symbolic conclusion or a breakthrough that they've foreseen almost every time before it happens. That's why the INFJs around you are heavily driven by this function and don't have an off button for it. This leads to 2 general types of INFJs with this function: mature INFJs with introverted intuition and immature ones. The mature INFJs you'll meet with this function will be wise, resourceful, and disciplined. You'll know one when you see them set attainable goals for themselves and strive to overcome the odds to achieve these goals. Immature INFJs with this function, however, get stuck in their own intuition and have trouble moving forward. If you know an INFJ that has unrealistic goals and easily gets distracted, chances are they're being swallowed by their own dominant function. Number 2, the INFJ auxiliary function, extraverted feeling. This function takes second place on the INFJ's cognitive function stack. But as common as it is amongst INFJs, it's still not the dominant one. If you know an INFJ, you'll likely see them read the room and the people in it, like an open book. They're not psychics, but it's their own ability to sense others' emotional state, even if they try to mask it. If it seems like an INFJ is in your proximity, is trying to avoid conflicts and making sure no brawls break out, know that they're doing this out of their utmost and genuine care. You'll see them checking on people, spreading harmony and peace, and eliminating any friction that might cause problems between the individuals around them. But not all INFJs can handle it the same way, which again splits them into 2 parties. Mature INFJs with extroverted feeling, these people are open, empathetic, and helpful. They tend to control this function and are great at setting and respecting boundaries and taking rejection with a smile. But if you catch an INFJ who has self-doubt, concerns for people's opinion, and approval issues, you're dealing with an immature INFJ, one who is yet to develop healthy extroverted feeling. Number 3, the INFJ Tertiary function, introverted thinking. This one is less used than the other 2 but plays a significant role in the stability and consistency of INFJ's daily decision-making habits. You know that person who always seems to be going down their own mental rabbit holes for hours on end, and then they jump out of it with some really in-depth solution to a problem? Well, that's an INFJ using the function introverted thinking. How do they do it? Well, they analyze their mental data, ideas, insights, and theories to come up with effective and unique solutions to vexing problems. And just like a data scientist, they set up systems and models to make sense of how things work. If developed well, this function can help INFJs become wiser, more careful decision makers. If not, it can lead to overthinking, self-deception, and emotional conflict. So if you feel like an INFJ is being too reckless and unreasonable with their intuitive thinking, rest assured that they're using their more logic-based function to understand and back it up. Number 4, the INFJ Inferior Function, Extraverted Sensing. Extraverted sensing comes last in the cognitive function stack and takes 4th place on the top 4 most used cognitive functions by INFJs. It pushes INFJs to show a rather hidden, rarely active side of their personality, the extrovert. Dubbed as the extrovert of introverts, INFJs do have a vibrant, outgoing and unreserved side to them. They occasionally enjoy extroverted activities and love living in the moment with people whose company they prefer. This is thanks to their least dominant function, extraverted sensing. It allows them to use their 5 senses to be in the present moment and embrace it with all their might. So next time you want to get the INFJ friend to hang out with you, set up plans like a morning hike, a skydiving trip, or a game of laser tag. They'll also enjoy any kind of exciting heart-bumping activities. Stuff like cycling, swimming, running, and even playing sports. But it can get too stimulating for them, which explains why they prefer to do these activities in less crowded areas with few people around. This way, they get to enjoy themselves with the company they like without exerting too much energy. Number 5. The INFJ's opposing role, Extraverted Intuition. Taking first place in the shadow functions, the deeper of the cognitive functions is Extraverted Intuition. This function is opposite to the dominant one, Introverted Intuition. This function causes INFJs to consume so much external data around them, like pictures, sound, conversations, opinions, and content, that they get easily overwhelmed. And because of their intuitive nature, they subconsciously create abstract patterns and connections, and sometimes they get wrapped up in them. That's the reason this function takes 5th place among the INFJ's cognitive functions. And if faced with multiple choices and options, INFJs get annoyed, stressed, and triggered. So instead of using their intuition to cut a clear path through the noise, they end up using their extraverted intuition, which in return makes them headstrong, unhelpful, and agitated. INFJs are usually calm and steady, but their 6th sense can become a curse to them sometimes. So if an INFJ displays negative behaviours and acts weird, it's probably because of their extroverted intuition throwing them off their game. Number 6. The INFJ inner critic, Introverted Feeling. The 6th function, Introverted Feeling, is opposite to the auxiliary function, Extraverted Feeling. It guides INFJs to dial in and focus on themselves, and being the judging type of personality, they tend to get in their own heads because of this function. They prefer to process their complicated feelings on their own, which might give off the impression that they don't want to deal with others while they're in that state. This function instigates most of the sensitive, unfavourable emotions INFJs have about themselves and others. It activates those negative, momentary feelings INFJs have under certain situations and usually causes self-doubt and a misguided sense of accountability. Then, the inner critic gets to work, and they start reliving all sorts of unfortunate past traumas and failures. The more they try to break out of it, the stronger it pulls them back in. If an INFJ makes a mistake, you'll most likely see them beat themselves up over it relentlessly, even if it's not worth stressing over. Number 7. The INFJ Joker, Extraverted Thinking. The extraverted thinking function takes 7th place in the cognitive function stack ranking. This is because it's hardly ever used by INFJs, and they don't show its effect often. But they do use external logic, facts, and rules to come to conclusions and to make decisions. When using extraverted thinking, INFJs weigh the pros and cons, gather outside information, and set up a system of thought and execution they believe makes the most sense. It almost programs them into thinking in a binary system of ones and zeros and prompts them to neglect all sorts of social cues. In a way, it actually interferes with their ability to read the air. So, in your everyday life, you might encounter situations with INFJs where they seem completely oblivious to their own disorganized thinking and execution of tasks. They might even get defensive if you bring it up the wrong way. The reason behind that is the extroverted thinking function that tricks them to believe that their system is flawless and suitable for everyone to follow. So sometimes when you disagree with an INFJ, you'll sound senseless to them. And number 8, the INFJ Bogeyman, Introverted Sensing. This one is the least useful function to INFJs. It's what gives them sleepless nights staring at the roof and pushing them to self-isolate for days, and even weeks. It's more detail-focused and exhibits a lot of comparisons between the present and the past. And considering how INFJs can be heavily self-doubters, the ramifications this function can bring into their everyday life can be costly. It causes INFJs to bring up inner information from past experiences and, as a result, reminds INFJs of past mistakes and failures. They can create patterns within past experiences and connect present ones to them, making them feel stuck in the past and unable to break free of that thought loop. You can see now why this function is the least used by INFJs and why it's called the boogeyman of cognitive functions. Alright psychos, that's it for today's video. So, if you're typed as an INFJ, can you recall all 8 of these functions within yourself? Let us know in the comments below. Also, make sure to leave us a like, share this video with your friends, and also subscribe to our channel for more psycho videos.